Adroa. My dear readers, this week we have an interview with the most wanted detective. You guessed it right, we interviewed Detective X on the recently solved case. I will cut it short and let the detective tell you a gripping story.
It was just an ordinary day when I received a call from Mr. Arcana from the museum. He didn't speak much, but I could tell from his voice he was so anxious. I hurried to the museum. Everyone was expecting me. The fear in their eyes would make me curious enough. I knocked on the door once and got in without a reply. He looked at me and pointed to the chair with his head. I sat on it and he started to talk.
Thank you for coming as fast as possible. We need to solve the case as soon as possible before anyone finds out. That's why we choose you. I believe you will be so quiet and fast about the case.
I nodded and he continued.
The face of Adroa. Adroa is an African god. It says that she only appears to the ones who are soon going to die. It is also believed that she created the heaven and hell. What we are actually scared of the myth that has been spread around like a virus even before the mask was found. The curse. Of course, I don't believe in myths, neither curses, but this time it's going to be real if you don't find it in 2 weeks.
He got up and opened the safe in his wardrobe. He took some papers, lots of receipts, and stuff which are about the excavation. He started talking again as he was putting the papers on the table.
When we opened the safe, we found the mask. Yes, but we realized it's fake on the same day. That's why you are here. You need the real mask. Take this check for the beginning and you will be granted more after you solve the case.
When I was leaving, he gave me the fake mask and wished me good luck. Later that night, I checked all the paperwork, reports, and receipts. It was nearly 4 in the morning when I finally finished the papers and decided to get some sleep. When I woke up, there was one thing that I had in my mind. I had to find the so-called cursed mask as soon as possible before it finds itself on the wealthy man's wall. I thought I should start with the archaeologist, since he knew a lot about the mask. I wrote down the address Mr. Arcana gave me and headed to South to find his apartment. It was in a proper neighborhood, although he was living in an apartment after all that money he earned sounded quite stupid. Maybe he wasn't even coming home very often because of all the excavations. Too bad that nobody was home. I talked with the neighbors. They were looking at me suspiciously, and they seemed not to talk except the old couple who were living downstairs. They welcomed me warmly and offered me a morning tea. I couldn't refuse such a good offer.
My dear, he comes home once or twice a year. He always brought us souvenirs from the place he went. He knew him before he became so well known. We might have helped him on his way to success.
The old lady continued after taking a sip from her tea. She talked and talked until I finally realized she knew nothing about the stolen mask. I thanked her sincerely and left the apartment. As I was leaving, I could see she was looking through the window with a fake smile. For the next few days, I went to his place and took a look around again and again, but he never came up. I wasn't just going to his place for days. I was also trying to find out who realized the mask was fake. But it didn't take too much time to find that person because that person was dead. I went to her house. It was a nice small home with a large garden. I rang the door, but nobody opened the door. No one was around. I broke in through the window to make a little investigation in her house. Everything was looking tidy and clean. After my investigation, I gave Mr. Arcana a visit and asked him how long she had been dead. He told me it was 5 days, and when I asked him why, he never told me about her death. He tried to change the subject. I didn't push it any further, and you know the rest, right? Police arrested Mr. Arcana and the woman who found out the mask was fake.
Well, detective, this is an incredible story, but how did you find out the director and the woman were once? I asked.
When I went to Mr. Arcana's office, I saw a woman's picture on his table. She was way too young to be his wife, and she didn't seem to be his sister either. Mr. Arcana never showed me the dead woman's picture, but the woman made a mistake. First of all, she wasn't dead. I realized it at the moment I got into her house.
But how? I asked in the curious way. And my readers, now it's time to be understood where all the detective stuffs comes in.
Well, the truth was in details. In her home, there were no dishes, but there wasn't any dust either. There was no laundry, but the plants were all watered. Especially the plants were the proof showing she was not dead at all. When I went back to Mr. Arcana's office, I had already called the police because the earlier visit I gave to Mr. Arcana, I realized something. That there was no mask actually, and he did a terrible mistake with adding the statue which was found in the site to the found list. And when I was looking at the masks, bones, jewels, and everything, I realized there was no statue at all, and there wasn't a mask in the found list. And that was the moment I realized that it was a game to slow me down and to make them time to deliver the statue. Oh, one more thing, the archaeologist wasn't a male. You see, Alex is also a shortened version of Alexia. So the archaeologist and the dead woman were in fact the same person. So when I got to Mr. Arcana's office for the last time, I created some time for the police to arrive and arrest him. Now, you must be wondering what happened to the statue. Do you remember when Mr. Arcana invited me to his office and opened the safe? The little golden statue with the jewels was in that safe. I never forgot what I saw. It was my last clue, and when the police arrived and Mr. Arcana was forced to open the safe, and everything got out to the sunshine. I solved the case in time before the statue was sold. After that, we returned the statue to the governor of the Toga with apologies. So, that's how everything ended.
Thank you, detective. You are awesome. Yes, dear riders. I hope to meet you again in another crime scene. Yes, see you until next time.